Hey Vic, just want to show you some of the changes that I've made to my side of the project of Automatarium. So number one is we had an issue with final states on Turing machines. They were very confusing previously. So as you can see, I'm just in a regular automata. Nothing happens. But if we go into a Turing machine, we'll see that we get a bit of an explanation. You see a pop-up here. And it tells us about the default behavior, and we can change that behavior if we'd like. And it'll keep popping up as well until we say that we understand. This is especially important for computing theory students. Very important for that. Additionally, I've fixed some things in the guided tour just to make sure that they work with this behind the scenes. Made sure that the pop-ups are functioning. And additionally, I've done a little bit of backwards compatibility. If we have a look in here, previously we used a different preference system. So if you updated to this version, you'd find that your pause Turing machine functionality would be quite broken. So with this new way of doing it, it should perfectly update for everyone in case you want to update and you've already used Automatarium before this latest version.
Hello, I'm Julian. I would like to demonstrate some of the code that I committed to the Automatarium project this semester. One such example was an interesting bug that was left over where we can have a legal machine that is an initial state and a final state, and yet our testing lab does not like it. And so, again, perfectly legal machine. This would be taught as a perfectly legal machine, and yet we could multi-run it, but we have a warning here saying there's no path to a final state, despite there not needing to be one. So that was actually a fairly simple fix, but still needed to be done. Uh, One of the things we identified in our charter was that, and I'll show you while I build this in a second, is that the testing lab and the stepping lab are fairly similar. So we can have our testing lab shows us our steps, and our stepping lab shows us a glow. So we thought, why not just combine them? Makes sense, right? So that's what we did.
Hi, my name is Anthony, and I'm going to talk about what changes I've made to our project. I was in charge of making guided tours. The reason why we decided that we wanted to implement this was because the site is pretty hard to learn and understand as a beginner. So to make it easy and smooth as possible, we added a step-by-step tour where it explains every little functionality. I made tours for all pages except the tutorial page, as the tutorial page was designed to be self-explanatory. So let's look at some of the elements. It sometimes highlights a few elements and starts explaining them. And you still function the website as normal, so you can interact with some of the elements like this. It works fine. It doesn't interfere with the user experience. They can also skip the tour completely if they want this and start it up again. Yeah, they choose from the landing page. And so let's go to another tour, and it automatically scrolls to things so that the user doesn't have to manually look for what it's trying to explain. And it also has GIFs and diagrams like this to help explain things better. Yep. So another thing I've implemented is that when we first create a state, it instantly becomes an initial state. This helps save users a bit more time, a few more clicks. And if they wanted another state to be initial state anyway, they can do that pretty simply by just by right-clicking the state and making it as initial.
Hello everyone, my name is Kelvin and I'll be demoing the Turing machine halting toggle, which is what I worked on for this capstone project. So first, the toggle can be found under the File and Preferences, and it's down here, TM halt on final state, and the default is set to not halt on the final state. So I'll show you that first. Don't ignore the highlight for now. It is not working as intended, but there will be this here on the right to better show you which state it's on at the moment. So now you can see it's on the final state, but it hasn't accepted or rejected. And it actually goes past until it has run out of inputs, in which case you can see here it has gone back to the final state and it has no transitions out of the final state, and so it accepts. So let me do that again, but I'll add an extra input and we'll just go again. But this time you can see it rejects because it ended up on Q3, which is not a final state. So if we change this, turn on the toggle so that it does pause, and you can see it instantly accepts once it reaches the final state. So, and the reason for having the toggle is to be more flexible with how the students are able to use it. Oh, so depending on how it is taught, they can toggle it on and off. So yeah, that'll be all from me. Thank you.
Hello, I'm John Stranti, and I'm here to present the manual step-in functionality that was implemented into Automatarium this semester. So the reason why this was chosen to be implemented is that previously, whenever you execute an input, it only shows a single path of execution through the machine. Like if you see here, this is how the only option you would have had before, just to press start. You go from Q0 to Q2 to Q3 to Q4, which gives out this output tape of AC. And while this can work in some situations, like if you're just testing for if the machine successfully halts, it's not useful if you want to see all the different possible execution paths of a given machine. Like here, for this machine and this input, it would be valid to go from Q0 to Q1 to Q3 to Q4, which would produce a different output tape and still be valid, but you couldn't find it through this method. So we implemented this new option called manual step-in, which can be enabled or toggled here. And it now shows a list of different transitions you can take. So if we want to go the other path, we can go from Q0 to Q1 to Q3 to Q4, and here we get an output tape of BT, which is different, and yeah, you can see that it accepts this as well. You can also go back, reverse through a given transition if you want to see a different path, like if you want to do this cyclical transition here, you can press it and you could get a rejecting state. So yeah, it's useful for machines like this with different paths, and also different type of machine like this pin guesser here, which takes in a series of X's, and it can produce you can replace any of those X's with any number character. So if you look here, previously the only output it would ever give is 999. Like if you go back, it would only still produce 999. However, with manual step-in, we'll now be able to test different combinations of numbers. Like if you want to test like 0, 1, 2, it would show that as a valid output tape, valid path to tape through this machine. So yep, that's one of the things we worked on. Thanks.